Skyrim has a vast assortment of weaponry, ranging from swords to bows to spells. It even has weapons that are not supposed to be used as real weapons. So what if you restricted yourself to only using the worst? Can you beat Skyrim with only training weapons? Training weapons might be a bit confusing, so what I mean is I can only use the wooden sword and practice arrows. Please note that the wooden sword does 2 damage and practice arrows do 0. I chose an orc as my race because they start with +5 in one-handed and +10 in heavy armor. This guy kicked the bucket, or I guess went into the bucket, and then a dragon showed up to save the day. If you've never played Skyrim, basically we play as the Dragonborn, the only person who can defeat the dragons. But now we are breaking out of our own execution. When we encounter people, my first instinct is to hide in the corner, just like in real life. I can't fight back because I don't have any of my weapons. Thankfully, Ralof is happy to take all the hits for me. After escaping, my first stop was the Jarl, to tell him about the dragon problem we seem to be having. His personal wizard tells me they needed a special rock or something. But before I could retrieve it, I needed a weapon. If you go to Dawnstar and come to this rock, and stick your hand deep into the ground, there will be a chest filled with loot, and most importantly, a wooden sword. I wanted to test my new weapon of death, but after smacking this guy upside the head, I was disappointed with the results. Even though the sword does 2 damage, it can be upgraded at a grindstone, and can also be enchanted, so it's not actually that bad to use. I hopped my way up the mountain to Bleak Barrow to get the dragonstone the wizard wanted. There we encounter the first real enemies of the game. Surprisingly, the wooden sword was not that bad, although I was playing on novice, so that might have something to do with it. Don't worry, I changed the difficulty after that. A giant spider must be defeated to progress. However, before starting this, I grabbed Fondle so he could take most of the damage on my behalf. But I felt he was making things a little too easy. After making it through the rest of the dungeon, we reached the Draugr Overlord. You know when you're playing a game with your friend, and you deal all the damage, and then your friend gets the last shot, so it counts as their kill? Yeah, that's how I feel with Fondle. I returned the stone and the Jarl sent me to kill a dragon. It's a little known fact that dragons can fly, so I would need arrows to kill it. To my knowledge, and to Google's knowledge, there is only one place to get practice arrows. There is a camp where you can learn how to use your bow, and the camp owner will give you practice arrows. To do the glitch, start the quest and then drop the 10 arrows she gives you. Ask for more and then drop them. Repeat until you have as many as you want. If you're wondering how they deal damage, when it says they deal 0, it's because Bethesda is lying to you. The total damage a bow deals adds together the damage of the arrows and the bow itself. So that means if you have a bow that deals 10 damage and the practice arrows do 0, you'll deal 10 damage. So even though I have a weapon that deals 5 times more damage, I still found myself using the sword more often. Now that I have a bow, I went to kill the dragon, and the damage I dealt was minuscule to say the least. I took the soul right out of the dragon, and I reported back to the Jarl. On the way, I saw the guy from Fallout New Vegas. After that, I climbed another mountain to meet the Greybeards, the only ones who can tell me what to do. They instructed me to go and retrieve an instrument that plays the best of songs. In the dungeon, I nearly died, and I saw the fastest skeleton known to man. At the end, we see the horn was kidnapped by someone, and I read a note to go to a hotel. The note leads me to someone named Delphine, the leader of some cult that worships the Dragonborn. First thing she made me do was kill a dragon for her amusement. Something I realized when I was fighting the dragon is that I never realized that Skyrim has 2 moons. Then I lit my sword on fire to deal fire damage for every hit. Delphine sent me to a party to get information on the enemy. There, I made the grave mistake of saving before I was close to dying. Eventually I caved and turned the difficulty down and still died. I toasted this guy and escaped. I reported back and had to rescue some basement dweller named Esbern. In the underground, I surprised myself when I stabbed this guy with what is basically a sharp wooden stick. I freed the man and ran straight back to Delphine to hand him over. However, she told me to go back and get him. I guess I forgot you have to basically hold his hand throughout the dungeon. Then at some point I lost him, like losing a kid in a grocery store, so I ran around frantically trying to find him. Eventually I gave up and went to tell Delphine that he stepped in a bear trap, but then I found him wandering at the inn. Now that the gang's here, we can make a game plan. That is, infiltrating another dungeon to find information on the dragons. Thankfully, the crazy cult people weren't that hard to kill. After seeing the Wall of Truth, I went to the Greybeards to find out how to kill the main bad dragon. I talked to a dragon to find out how to kill the dragons, and I visited my brother, who led me on where to find the Elder Scroll, the only thing that can defeat the dragons. I saw some weird fish on my way, and I made it to where the Elder Scroll was kept. This part was almost as hard as the party mission because of these weird robot things. One thing that I learned from this run is the absurd amount of hits it takes to kill something with a low damage weapon. Some enemies take 10 hits, while others take 50 plus to bring them down. On the way, we encounter my least favorite enemy in the game, the Falmer. After killing me 5 plus times, I bit the bullet and turned the difficulty down by 1. I made it to the jellyfish place, where I died again, and I got to the Elder Scroll. I did use console commands to see what's in the ball, but sadly there was nothing. I went to the top of the world to read it, and saw the old heroes killing the dragons, but when I was in my dream, the dragon showed up, oh no. I beat it with my stick, and the nice dragon told me to trap one and torture it to get information. The Jarl didn't seem too keen on helping me in my dragon torturing endeavors, so I had to convince the two kingdoms to have a peace meeting so I can get back on my business.
General, this is outrageous.
Trying to catch a flying lizard that can shoot flames is not as easy as it sounds, and it didn't help that I only had a sweet roll and some alcohol to heal me. Eventually I trapped it and it took me to the lair of the dragons. This was by far the hardest part of the game, filled with draugrs and dragons. Spending 20 minutes here was not fun. I think you're supposed to fight this guy, but honestly you can just run past him. I made it to heaven, and told some past dragon slayers to follow me, and I made them help me kill the dragon. This is the final battle for Skyrim, and it was pretty easy. I guess spending the whole game leveling up one-handed and archery really helped. And after spamming Dragon Ren to keep him down, I made him disintegrate with just my stare, and I beat Skyrim with only training weapons.